Okay, now we are on TorahDirect.live.com. We can start this class. Okay, welcome everybody. Okay, welcome everybody. Good evening, everybody. Good Chodesh to everybody. Chodesh Tov. Today is the first day of the month of Tammuz. As we go into the month of Tammuz, we're coming closer to the third day of Tammuz, which is this Thursday, which is the yahrzeit of the Rebbe on Gimel Tammuz 26 years ago, and we continue and try to strengthen our commitment to the Rebbe's vision as being Chassidim of the Rebbe and continue to be inspired by the Rebbe and his teachings to each and every single one of us. Oops, just want to get one more thing. 1 second. So I'm sorry, I got to get my mouse. So as you can see, the last couple of the classes that we're giving, the JLI has put out classes based on the Rebbe's teachings. On this coming Thursday, on Positively Biased. We still have a few books left that we're giving out tomorrow night out the Chabad House from 6 to 7:30. You can come and pick up a book that has been sponsored and given by two wonderful people, so that you can enjoy this book and have this book, and we can learn together on Thursday, which is actually the day of the yahrzeit at 10 a.m. On Thursday, we continue Positively Biased. This class is also based on the Rebbe teaching, and it's also a beautiful class. And really, the Rebbe was a leader of Jews in this generation, and therefore, by connecting to the Rebbe and his teachings, and we can be inspired to have the Rebbe's outlook, that we can try to be inspired and have the Rebbe's outlook. And as this class is called In-Look Outlook, to be able to have an in-look into our souls, maybe our essence in the teachings of the Rebbe, and learn from it. So this class is based on a letter that the Rebbe wrote on the third day of Hanukkah, December 13th, 1944. So the Rebbe was a Rebbe already for already. No, the Rebbe. I'm sorry. The third day of Hanukkah, 1944. The Rebbe was in America already, and he writes a letter to this my esteemed and honored friend, Dr. Dov Feder. Greetings and blessings. So this is a letter written to this friend, to this person. The Rebbe, you should know that today you can buy Igros Kodesh. You've seen about Igros Kodesh Volume 2. There is 30 volumes of the Rebbe's letters that we are allowed to be printed, and all those letters and names are taken out. And there are over 10,000 letters, correspondence that the Rebbe had with people throughout the dust holding. Actually, they are not even finished all the years, and it's amazing. Some of these letters are truly amazing. So what's amazing about this letter that they've chosen to share with us, and we should learn together, is that this letter was usually the Rebbe would never speak about himself in public or even in his letters. The Rebbe never spoke about his life that much, and didn't divulge his life and the way his feelings of his personal life. But over here we find that Rebbe does do that. He writes, your letter awakens memories of the time that we were together in Vichy in Nice. Each of us under living conditions which they were unaccustomed. This is a letter that Rebbe is writing to a guy who was together with the Rebbe in Vichy, Nice, in France, in the southern France. And this happened because the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, was running, if you know, in 1933, the Rebbe went from Germany to France, and he was in Sorbonne. And ultimately in 1940, when the Germans took over France, the Rebbe ran from there, and he was in in Vichy, France, in the southern part of France, under the government of a Nazi collaborators, and he was constantly on the run. And in June 1941, like this month, June 1941, the Rebbe came to America. He got on the last boat that left Portugal. He escaped to Lisbon, to Portugal, and ultimately got on the last boat that came to the United States of America. Actually, this past Shabbos, the 28th day of Sivan, was the day that the Rebbe came to America in 1940. So 1941, I'm sorry. The 28th day of Nisan. So day of great, in essence, the Rebbe changed the whole landscape of the Jewish people in America and around the world through his coming to America, and ultimately in 1950, becoming, when his passing of his father-in-law, the Frierdiker Rebbe, the People's Arch Rebbe, the Rebbe became the leader of the Chabad movement. And so what we have today is all his vision and what he wanted. So when a person, and going back to the letter that Rebbe writes, when a person is uprooted from their habitual environment until such time that they become accustomed to their new conditions and requirements, there comes to light certain traits of their inner character as they are in their purity, undistorted by the expectations of society. Because the Rebbe is telling the young man that we were together in France, in southern France. We were running away. We were all refugees, running for our lives. And, we were in a very uncomfortable situation, but we in that moment was a revelation, because we know the Rebbe, even while he was running, and while him and his wife were running away from the Germans, and they were in this uncertain situation for almost a year, they did a lot for the Jewish community. And that's what this young man, this Dov Fredber, is writing to the Rebbe in memory of, reminding him of his time in France. Often these traits reveal hidden virtues of the person, virtues that have been hidden even from themselves on the layers of manners and social convention. In such cases, now that's the beauty of this letter that the Rebbe writes, in such cases, fortunate is the person who does not allow these traits to disappear when subsequently settle down and find tranquility. So the Rebbe is writing this letter in 1944. He's already 4 years already in America, or 3 years in America. And he's telling this person that I remember the days in France, and when we were running and we met there, we found certain things that I hope I get these part of my life. And I hope that I won't give up these beautiful qualities that I acquired while we were together in France. And so he's telling this person that he shouldn't either lose those qualities of what they had in France. This is the letter, and this is what the class is surrounded around, this letter. If you think about the letter, and you can connect it to today. You can connect it to today's situation, as we are displaced in a situation. We are in an uncomfortable environment. We are, not running away from Nazis, Baruch Hashem, and we're not running away from our lives. But we are in an uncertain situation. We are in an uncomfortable situation. And here the Rebbe writes that that there's something in this uncomfortable situation that you can find the beauty in this situation. And you should never lose that beautiful situation that you might have in life. Where does the Rebbe get this from? This is a Torah value. This is a Torah value. This is what the Torah really tells a person. You don't forget, even when the Jews left to Egypt, God says, you're not going to remember the Egyptians. Don't hate Egypt. Learn from the Egyptians. The Egyptians gave you something, and they gave you a place to live. What is it? Where do we find this concept in the Torah? This aspect in the Torah, the aspect of that there has to be something in every situation, even in an uncertain in an uncertain place. There needs to be. Fortune is a person who does not allow these traits to disappear. Why is it so fortunate the person who wouldn't allow these traits to disappear? What's so special about a time of uncertainty? So the Rebbe was self-understood. The Rebbe, he was a great educator, and he lived what he taught. And he taught Chassidus. He taught the concept of Chassidus. He taught the aspects of what Chassidus wanted to express to the world and reveal to the world and to transform the world. We know that Baal Shem Tov was told by Mashiach, legend tells us that Baal Shem Tov was told by Mashiach that when will Mashiach come? When the well springs of Chassidus will be spread throughout the world. So what is the teachings of Chassidus? What the Chassidus teach us? There's many things that Chassidus taught us. And I wish I can be sitting with all you together in the class. I'm sure you all tell me something else. But let us all come to one concept what Chassidus taught us. And what the Alter Rebbe based, the Tanya upon, the aspect of a nefesh elokis. The accentuating the concept of a godly soul. That was one of the principal concepts of Chassidus. The aspect of the accentuation of the godly soul. That even though we have a physical side to us and we have materialism, but there is a concept of spiritualism. There is a concept of an neshama. What is this soul? And really, who am I? That's really the question. Who am I? That Chassidus wanted to push a person, to push him to think about it. I am not a particular body part, or even sums of all my parts of my body. I'm not a knowledge, intellect, emotions, or desires. What am I? Who am I? You have to ask this question. Chassidus demands on a person to push himself to ask the question, who am I? What is my true essence? What is my true being? If I can come to that answer to that question, then you'll understand the Rebbe's answer to this person. So if you ask the question, who am I? This is what Chassidus wants a person to accentuate. I am my soul, my neshama. And trust me, my friends, to say that I am my soul is already a very big thing because there's a lot of levels to the soul, there's a lot of meanings to the soul. But let's each and every one of us, because this is not a class about the soul, but let us all try to think about a moment. What is the neshama to you? What is the meaning of a soul? So let us try to go to the basic principles, right? We have to go to the Torah. We have to go to the Torah. Where does the Torah express the concept of a soul? So we know that the Torah expresses it in the creation of the world. When God created the world, he created in 6 days. We have the difference between the creation of man and the creation of animals. When God created animals, God said, let the earth bring forth all kinds of living beings according to their kind. That's the way the Torah expresses itself when God creates animals. In Genesis 1:24, when he creates man, there's a different expression. It says God formed human of soil from the earth, and he breathed in his nostrils, the neshama, a soul of life. This is the first time you have in the Torah, in Genesis 2:7, you have in the Torah expression of the word neshama, the concept of a soul. So you look at this pasuk, just look at this pasuk, the second pasuk in Genesis 2:7, and you have this verse, God formed a human of the soil from the earth, and he breathed in his nostrils the neshama of life. Now, everything has a neshama. An animal also has a soul. He has to live. But when God created an animal, he created a cow or a deer in this picture. He said, let the earth bring forth all kinds of living beings. The second, the earth came, so we both came from the earth. Actually, human beings come from the earth. and an animal comes from the earth. That's why there's an expression, Hakoil min ha'afar, everything comes from the earth, and everything goes back to the earth. So what's the difference between animals and humans? Is that the animals, when they came out of the earth, they were living. Let the earth bring forth all kinds of living beings. And they came out living and eating and walking, etc. When God created man, he formed human out of soil. He created it, made this form of earth, a clay form. And then he breathed within to his nostrils the neshama. So we're not like an animal. We're totally different. And what would be the difference in simple terms? If you just look at the verse, so let's go to the next slide. Number one, the soul is not created together with the body. That's the first thing you read in the pasuk. The soul was created something. It doesn't say it was created. The funny thing is, it says the body was created. It doesn't say the soul was created. He said he blew within him a neshama. So when was the soul created? It doesn't even mention that when the soul was created in the 6 days of creation. It doesn't at all mention when the souls are created. Actually, according to Chassidut, Kabbalah, the soul was created before humans. Before the world. The soul was created before the world. So the soul was there before the creation of the world. So it was there before the first verse of the Torah. When was he created? Doesn't say the Torah. So that's number one. It was not created together with the body. Number two is, if it was not created with the body, it does not perish the body when the body does. It has no situation with the body. The neshama has its own identity. It has its own reality. It was there before. It will be there after. It has its own reality. It fits the body, but it doesn't have the identity of the body. And once you understand these two concepts, then you'll understand the third concept. Is it not at home in the physical world? The neshama is not at home. And how do I know that the neshama is not at home in the physical world? How do we all know that? Because every morning we thank God. She'erzaita bi nishmasi. Why do we thank God that God gave us back our neshama? Isn't our neshama part of us? No, our neshama doesn't want to come back. Our neshama, the Eibishter, forces God, so to say, forces our neshama into our body. So we thank God every morning. Thank you, God, for pushing back the neshama in the body. Thank you so much. Because if it wasn't you, my neshama, if it was up to my neshama, he would say, have a good day. I left my body at night. A big percentage left my body. I'm very happy where I am. I'm not returning. The Eibishter, in his ultimate kindness, says, you know what? So you're going back to the body. And that's why I thank God every morning. Thank you, God. And that's one of the wonders of creation, that God takes two entities that are opposites in a way, as written, I'm not at home in the physical world. And God says, my friend, so you have a purpose because you're doing my purpose. So God, in essence, says to the soul, you're doing my purpose. And therefore, I want you to come into the body because I have a purpose. And you know that you have to be able to accomplish that purpose. You have to come into the guf. You have to come into the body. And that's the wonder, one of the wonders of creation, that the Eibishter brings the soul, not by animals, not by other living creations or even plants, only by a human being that we have this wonder. So if you think about it for a moment, okay, according to this, the soul has its agenda. The soul has its purpose. It comes down into a body. The body seemingly has its own purpose. There's two different purposes. What happens? You know what it feels like? The soul in the body is like a stranger on a foreign soil. He comes, he says, I don't know, what am I doing here? This guy, I'm involved in a body that's interested in computers. He's interested in food. He's interested in fun. He's interested in relaxing. He's interested in playing around. Imagine taking two people, one who has such a drive and a purpose in life, another one who just wants to relax. It's like putting two opposites together and wanting them to work together So the Eibishter knew this problem because he created the problem. God knew the problem. He created the problem, and he understood that it's going to be a struggle. And how do I know this? Because the Torah says it itself. Torah says when God created man, he says it in Genesis. He says God saw that that human nature, humans are gonna run after negative. Ra doesn't mean evil. It means negative to the soul. Human nature is going to run to the physical, to the physical, to the physical. It's going to be very powerful. And the soul is going to try to run to the spiritual. It's going to be a big struggle. That's why God, in essence, shortened human life. When the God officially, Adam lived for 1,000 years. So when God says that the struggle is going to be too much. It's going to be too much in the body, too much in the soul to last for hundreds of years. I'm going to shorten the human life to 120 years, the maximum, really, as we say in Tehillim and Psalms, 80, 90, you should be jumping for joy. Because the Shema says, how much can we fight? How long can we struggle? The struggle, how many years can we struggle the struggle? So if you think about it, you think about this concept. So the Shema has a journey, the body has a journey. If we can bring together these journeys together, that they are both in unison, that will be an unbelievable, that is a tzaddik. But in general, we struggle in life. We struggle, it's really everything that we struggle in life, Chassidus tells us, is all the struggle of the soul and the body. It's all that struggle. It just expresses itself in different things. It's that struggle. If we would comprehend the struggle, if we would comprehend the purpose of the struggle, if you would comprehend the needs of the body and the needs of the soul, you would be able to figure out things. But we don't, we always put it into other issues. Mental issues, physical issues, financial struggles. These are all the struggles of the soul and the body. These are all expressed in these struggles. So we go through life. This is life. We go through this life. Kids and adults, right? But really, we value life more than anything else. We are a culture of life. And really, it's all about life. What is life? The question you have to ask, what is life? What is true life? Mazeh chayim. It says, the Torah says, I've given you life and the opposite of life. B'chayta b'chayim. Choose life. What does the Torah mean? Torah means choose a vacation. The Torah meant choose a spiritual life. Can we look at life as a spiritual life? Or can we only look at life on its physical plane? Or can we look at both life? Life is a physical plane and life is also a spiritual plane. Can there be equality? Can there be 50-60, 50-50? Can it be 60-40? Can it be 75-25? What is the value of life? When you say, I just brought value, the value, what is life? What is considered a value of life? To ask these questions. I know I'm asking you this question now, but you can't respond. But you have to ask these questions. What is the true value of life? What is the meaning of life? You have the expression, in the Torah, when it came to Pharaoh, it says that the Pharaoh killed the boys, and he said, "V'chol habas techayun," and every girl you should give life. Now, that's the verse. Kol haben, every boy you should kill. And every girl you should give life. If you don't kill them, then they're going to live. What do you mean you should give them life? Call a bas techayun. Every girl you should give life. And Chassidus says the meaning was there was two decrees. There was the decree on the physical death of boys, and there was the decree on the spiritual death of girls. In essence, the Pharaoh said all the girls you should take and give them a different life. Take them away from their Jewish life. Give them an Egyptian life. That was a decree from Pharaoh. And then the question is, what's a greater decree? The decree of the boys or the decree of the girls? And we can argue about that. Self in the booth. So they're both terrible decrees. The decree of the death of the first of all boys, and then the decree to take the Jewish children and take away their Yiddishkeit. That's what every nation of the world tried to do. They did both decrees. They killed Jews and they took away their Yiddishkeit. They took away the capability to educate their souls. So they were always after these two things. That's why in every decree, even Haman, he said to kill the Jews. But first, let's close all the schools down. Let's not allow any of the shuls open. So did the communists. So did the Germans. So did the Romans. So did every nation of the world. As the Gemara, we celebrate Hanukkah. So did the Greeks. The Greeks ultimately went out to war with the Jews. But first, they said, stop with all this Jewish education. Let's get rid of Jewish education. Let's get rid of the life of the soul. And that's the struggle. The life of the soul, the life of the body. The Siddur says that we celebrate Hanukkah and Purim because Hanukkah, Purim was the death, was the challenge of the body. Haman wanted to kill the Jews. It was the struggle of the physical reality. And Hanukkah is the struggle of the soul. The Greeks wanted to first diminish the souls of the Jews. They tried to make them Hellenistic, tried to get all the Jews to become Hellenistic. When they couldn't do that, then they went out physically to kill the Jews. But first they tried to Hellenize the Jews, get rid of their schools, get rid of their education, give them another life, teach them another life. Jews value life. We want to live. Tell them there's another way to look at life. You don't only have to look at life as spiritual life. What's self-understood, Yidden struggled with that, and Jews kept not only to love life, the value of physical life, but Jews kept the value of spiritual life, the value of their neshama. The Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, expressed that when he was taken into custody by the NKVD, by the Russian government, and he was threatened with a gun to his head, previous Lubavitch Rebbe, which in this month, Yud Beis Tammuz, we come to the celebration of his liberation. So he said to the Russian authority that was holding a gun to his head, he said, we have one God and two worlds. As such, I don't panic at the sight of your toy. He was talking about the gun. It has no effect on me whatsoever. He said, you can't threaten me with that. I'm not threatened with that. Why? Because you only can be threatened with that if you only have one world. You have too many gods and you have only one world, which means only have a physical world. So this is the end of the physical. You threaten me with the end of the physical. I have both worlds. I have two worlds. I have a spiritual world and I have a physical. And therefore, I have the world of the neshama. And the world of the neshama is not affected by this. The world of the neshama continues to go on and on and on. So if you think about it for a second, before I'm going to try to sing, I'm going to put on a musical song to you to be inspired of the second Lubavitch Rebbe's statement, and it's self-explanatory in the song, as you'll soon see in a moment. We are all here to acquire things. We are all here for the physically and spiritually. We're here to acquire things. That's why the Abish to send us down to the world. We acquire things. We acquire knowledge. We were educated. We acquire ethics. We acquire morals. We acquire businesses. We acquire houses. We acquire families. We acquire children. We're here to acquire things. We're here to acquire spiritual things too. We're here as an neshama to acquire spiritual things too. And you have to think, in essence, if you're here as in the world to acquire things, what is the journey of your neshama when it acquires things? What is the journey of your soul when it is supposed to acquire things? I believe that's what the Rebbe, in essence, told this young man. You cannot forget what you acquired as a soul. Sure, you shouldn't acquire what you acquired physically, running for your life. Who wants to have such a life? We should never have such a life. You should never go through again running for your life. But what you acquired spiritually in your journey, that neshama acquirement lives forever. Listen to this.
Is it popular to sit about that? Was inspired by a powerful person. I think the second student is as a sage house. And he says back to the student, where's all your stuff? You just have a suitcase. I was passing through. That's what just passing.
I'll start it again. I'll start it again.
Not working, Rabbi.
It's not working?
No.
Why is it not working? You don't hear it still?
No, we don't. I don't think a lot of us hear it.
Oh, wow.
I don't hear it.
You hear it, I guess?
I don't know why.
There's no audio.
Right.
There's no audio. I hear it loud and clear.
No. We don't, we can read it, but we cannot hear it.
Okay. I don't know why.
Still can't hear it, Rabbi. Maybe.
It's all right.
Okay.
It's all right. Let's read the words.
People spend their life collecting stuff. And at the same time, I'm actually just like you. I also collect stuff. I collect treasures of to invest in treasures of a kind.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'll tell you the meaning. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you'd be able to hear it. So I apologize. It's a great song, and it's a story of it's a story of the Rebbe, the Mittler Rebbe, and his chassid. The Mittler Rebbe meets his chassid, and the Mittler Rebbe lived in a very poor home. So the chassid said, "Where is all your furniture?" And he said, "What do you mean? Where's yours?" He says, I'm just traveling through. I don't schlep my furniture. And the Mittler Rebbe said, I'm just like you. I'm also gathering things. I'm also just on my journey. And I'm gathering things. I'm just not gathering the same stuff you're gathering. You're gathering couches and you're gathering chandeliers. I'm gathering godly things. And the truth is, we should both be gathering more godly things for our neshama. If we're only thinking about acquiring things, and that's what we are in the world, to acquire things. If we're only thinking about the acquiring of the physical and not acquiring of the spiritual, then when we're missing out the importance of the real who I am and what I am in the world for. You're right. I am in the world to acquire physical things. And Baruch Hashem, we should all live very physically stable and live in mansions and live with all the physical delights of this world. But what about the neshama? What about our soul? What is our soul acquired in this journey? Has our neshama acquired in this journey anything? And that's what the Mittler Rebbe is told. I'm just like you. I'm just like you. I'm a human being like you. I'm just acquiring different kinds of things. That's the difference. And I hope he wanted to impress upon his chassid that he would also go out there and acquire different kinds of things too. So that's a beautiful song. I'm sorry that you couldn't hear it. I don't know. So I'm not technically savvy. I thought that Zoom would automatically hear it. I heard it on my computer. So it seems like I don't know exactly how to work it. Or maybe next time if I want to show a video, I'll ask somebody how to do it exactly. It seems like it didn't. What? My wife said it's simple. I have to press a button. Okay, I something I will be taught, and I will. You want to show it to me now? Can I hum it? I'm the lousy guy to hum it. That just like you. Okay, wait a second. I'm gonna do this again. Let me see if I can do it.
Go to share.
A share screen. I'm on share screen.
Yes, but if you look down here.
Well, Rabbi, it's to group the eighth day, right? So we can look up eighth day.
Optimize screen share.
Hit that.
Guys, I didn't realize. I was not doing it right. See, you need my wife here to tell me how to do it. Can you hear it? Let me see if I can try it. I'm just gonna start. Do you hear it?
Why wait to celebrate?
Yeah.
Bright lights in city streets.
Eighth Day is a popular Hasidic rock band.
Why wait to celebrate?
One of their hits was inspired by a powerful episode in the life of the second leader of the Hasidic movement, Rabbi Dovber of Mezerich.
Do you hear it?
A student.
Can't know if they hear or not. Guys, do you hear?
Yes.
Yes.
we can hear it. It was perfect.
Yes.
Why wait to celebrate? Bright lights in city streets.
Eighth Day is a popular Hasidic rock band.
Why wait to celebrate?
One of their hits was inspired by a powerful episode in the life of the second leader of the Hasidic movement, Rabbi Dovber of Mezerich.
A student goes to visit a sage, and the sage has nothing in his house. He says, "Where's your couches? Where's your chandelier?" And he says back to the student, "Where's all your stuff? You just have a suitcase." And the student responds, "But I'm just passing through." And that's when the sage says, "Aha, I'm just like you. I'm also just passing through."
To his student's assertion, Rabbi Dovber responded with a transformative insight.
That's when he said, I'm just like you. I'm just passing through, just like you. My heart wants to feel something that's real, and my mind hopes to find treasures of another kind. And if you had my eyes, you'd see a palace for you and me.
This world is temporary.
Where people spend most of their life collecting stuff. And the sage tells them, I'm actually just like you. I also collect stuff. It's just not that type of stuff, not leather couches and chandeliers. I collect treasures of another kind.
You know, he stays focused on that higher goal.
Rabbi Dovber taught his students that this world's glitter is a distraction that expires when the journey of corporeality chugs to an abrupt end. Better to invest in treasures of a kind that will benefit the soul in its eternal destination.
I'm just like you. I'm just passing through, just like you. My heart wants to feel something that's real, and my mind hopes to find treasures of another kind. And if you had my eyes, you'd see a palace for you and me. And my heart wants to feel something that's real, and my mind hopes to find treasures of another kind. And if you had my eyes, you'd see a palace for you and me. A palace for you and me.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful, my friend. So very nice. I hope you heard it. It's a very nice song. They're a very nice band, actually. And the lesson is self-understood. That the Rebbe wanted to teach us is chassid, that he needs to acquire also for his neshama, because that's what he'll have forever. The requirements of his neshama, what his neshama will acquire in this world, that's what he's going to have because the neshama is here before the world, and the neshama will be after the world. It will be always there with him. So as this thing says, some think life is what happens between birth and death, the Rebbe would say, but life is the part of the person that is never born and never dies. What a powerful statement. That's the soul definition. The soul's definition in life is something that is always there. The Eibishter, in essence, puts you in a situation because God wants you to learn from that situation. If you understand the concept of Hashgacha Pratis, divine providence, then it's divine providence that you would come to this situation at this time and you would get something from it. You would acquire something from it. And that was the beautiful expression that I believe the Rebbe told this young man. He said, it's a shame that we always forget those treasures that we had. That when God put us in that situation, we were running and we were in an uncharted kind of situation, an uncomfortable situation, and we didn't take the good things from it. We did not take the treasures that God wanted, that the neshama was supposed to be there, and the neshama was supposed to be. It's a beautiful lesson that maybe we can all learn from it. So here we have another statement that says, when we live and identify with eternal values, we become eternal. And that's another teaching of Chassidus. When we live and identify with eternal values, that's the way we become eternal. Because if we only connect to physical values, then there's a beginning, and chas v'shalom, it comes to an end. And that was the lesson and this lesson goes even further. This lesson, my friends, is not only an aspect of requirements of the requirements that we acquire in life, but this lesson goes even further, even more than that, because we know the lesson of Hillel. Hillel said, "Al tifresh min hatzibur." Do not separate yourself from the community. This is one of the Pirkei Avos that we do on every Shabbos. These days, we learn ethics of our fathers. And this is an important, why did Hillel say, Al tifresh min hatzibur? Why did Hillel say, don't separate from the community? Most of us think that there's physical positive things in the aspect of a community. But if you go deeper, there's actually great spiritual things in the concept of a community. Because we are one soul. We have a zchus, we have a merit to be part of each other. There's a reason why our souls came together in this community and not in another community. There's a reason why we are all, as in the community of Boca, let's say. There's a purpose. It's not only because Boca is like a melting pot of the whole, nobody was born in Boca. Everybody's coming from all different parts of the world. Why are they coming here? Why are they coming all here? Why did why'd you come to be part of the community of Boca? There is a reason. There's a godly reason. And if you think the only thing is a physical reason, then that's the sad part of this. Then that's a sad part of your physical journey. But if you look at the soul, then there's a treasure right over here to be found. There's something for your neshama that your neshama cannot find anywhere but right now here in Boca Raton. And don't lose that treasure. Whether you're happy here, whether you're unhappy here, it doesn't make a difference. There's something that you need to find over here, that you need to acquire here in this situation, living here in Boca. And that's why Hillel said, Al tifresh min hatzibur. Don't realize, you might say, oh, I don't like this tzibur. I'm going to go to another tzibur. Fine, go to another community. But at this present time, don't separate. Get something from it. Don't separate. Don't say, oh, this was a wasted time. I came part of this community and now it's a wasted time. No, it wasn't, God forbid. You came part of this community because there's something that your neshama and my neshama needed to acquire in this journey. There's something that we needed to acquire. The Rebbe emphasizes this concept and accentuates this concept. And Hillel says the same expression, accentuates this aspect that we should never separate ourselves from the community. No man, I don't know who John Donne is, but no man is an island entire on itself. Every man is a piece of a continent, a part of the main. And man's death diminishes me because I am involved in mankind. But I want to go to the next one. This is Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, previous chief rabbi of England. And it's a beautiful the way he said it. A letter on its own has no meaning. When the letters are joined to other words, they make a word. Words combined with others make a sentence. Sentence connected to make a paragraph. A paragraph joined makes a story. This is how the Baal Shem Tov understood. This thing is blocking me over here. This is how the Baal Shem Tov understood life. Every Jew is a letter. Each Jewish family is a word. Every community is a sentence. And the Jewish people at any one time are a paragraph. By Jonathan Sachs, Radical Then, Radical Now, from the book Radical Then and Radical Now. What a beautiful statement, which that's the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov. That was the teaching of Chassidus. That's the journey of the soul. That's the way you need to look at the concept of your neshama. You're part of a beautiful paragraph. Being part of a community, being part of the situation right now, you, even if you look at yourself like a letter, but you're part of a paragraph. You're part of Am Yisrael. You're part of a community. You're part of a situation. Learn from it. Acquire something within it. Find a treasure within it. Then you have accomplished something in your life. Just to end off with the statement of Hillel, who said, Im ein anili mili v'shani la'atzmi ma'ani. And this was the same concept that Hillel wanted to teach us. If I am for myself, who is for me? That means that it's in essence, it's my responsibility. I have to take responsibility of the situation because shani la'atzmi, but it's only about me. Ma'ani, what am I? If I think, and if you understand what I just explained to you, if I understand that I am an neshama, shani la'atzmi ma'ani, there's no such kind of thing as an neshama on its own. There's no kind of concept that an neshama is on its own. Maybe a body can be on its own, but an neshama cannot be on its own because an neshama is part of all neshamas. We are all part of one big neshama. So it's impossible for us to be on our own. It's impossible for the soul to live on its own and to be on its own because the soul, as a spiritual entity, doesn't comprehend that concept of being on its own. And that's why the truth is, the neshama is very uncomfortable with the body because the neshama would rather be out of the body. He has much greater relationships out of the body than in the body. And why? Because the body becomes selfish. The body becomes selfish and forces the neshama to be selfish, to not reach out to others. The opposite of the neshama's values, the opposite of the soul's agenda. The soul wants to be with everybody. The soul has no struggles with anybody. The soul has no jealousy of anybody. The soul loves everybody. So that's why he said, Kashani la'atzmi ma'ani. Ma'ani, who am I? If I'm for myself, so then what am I? Then going back to my first question, if it's all about me, so what am I? Then you're going back, who am I? Am I my body? Am I my couch? Am I my business? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? So you have to ask that question. When you ask the question, who am I? Then I really don't know who I am. And really the essence, who I am, is my soul. And if the essence is my soul, it cannot be ani latzmi. I cannot be for myself. But I still have my own journey as my soul to acquire things in this world, to elevate this world, to bring godliness to this world. That surely I have as a journey in my neshama to this world. So now I want to go back to the original letter that the Rebbe wrote to this man that we started off the class with. And let's read it again. The Rebbe's letter. Let's read the last stanza of the Rebbe's letter. Often these traits traits reveal hidden virtues in the person, virtues that have been hidden even from themselves, from the layers of manners and social conventions. Right, we're all into. In such cases, fortunate is the person who does not allow these traits to disappear when they subsequently settle down and find tranquility. This is the lesson, I believe, to all of us. We're going through hard times, unconventional, things that we should know ever was, none of us was ready for this whole situation. I hope and I pray that it revealed within us something special, revealed within us something that our souls acquired, and we should never, ever let that go. Whether it's caring about others, whether it was sharing with others, whether it was reaching out to others. When we come back to normal, as the Rebbe says, don't let go of these wonderful things that the soul acquired in the times of uncertainty, in the times when we were out of normal manners and normal situations. And that brings a closure to this class. It was a pleasure to learn with you. I'm going to open you up so you all can say hello, everybody. You can all say something. Wow, I didn't realize. The thing is, when I give this class, I don't see anybody, and I'm talking to myself. So now that I can see some faces, I'm very happy. So I hope you enjoyed the class.
How many participants does it say?
It was 1920 people, Baruch Hashem, and it's great. And tomorrow night, 7:30, come pick up your book, Positively Biased. And we're going to go again through 4 beautiful stories of the Rebbe. And it's going to inspire us on Thursday. And we're going to keep each other inspired for many, many more classes and weeks and years to come. It was a pleasure learning with every one of you.
I have that.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Have a
It was a
wonderful
wonderful
night.
class.
God bless you all.
Thank you.
Find the treasures of the soul.